Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. Today I'm going to be doing my spooky October TBR where I'm going to be talking about 13, because 13 is such a wonderful number. 13 books that I'm going to read in the month of October. Stay tuned. Okay everyone, before we get started, I'm just going to talk about a book that very briefly that I've just finished, and that is Legion by William Peter Blatty. Now I'm not going to do a review of it tonight, it's not a time for it tonight, but it's an important book just to talk about very briefly because it's going to introduce a readathon, an event that I'm taking part in this month. Now Legion, as we know, is a sequel to The Exorcist, where we have a detective investigating his, please excuse my doggy, she's chewing herself, but this detective is investigating some gruesome murders. And the first one is particularly gruesome, where this boy gets crucified. It's really terrible. But he's investigating his murders and things sort of turn a little bit towards the supernatural side. And that's where I'm talking about my readathon for this month, where I'm taking part in MJ's Occult Detective October. Now MJ from Reading His Life is an awesome channel, and I'll link her below as long as other people that are being part of this readathon, running this readathon. Okay, for this readathon there are 4 prompts. The first prompt being talking about a classic, a book before 1960, about occult detectives. Well, I first just want to talk about, okay, what is the genre or the subgenre or whatever of occult and detectives? Well, it's obviously including anything to do with the supernatural, the paranormal, and then you throw in detectives and investigators that are investigating something that's happening. It could be ghosts, it could be hauntings, it could be pretty much anything. For the first one that I've chosen, I actually changed my mind. Because I watched MJ's channel the other day, and she talked about this one book. It just seemed too good to pass up, and that is called The Devil Rides Out by Dennis Wheatley. And now this involves obviously an investigation, and there's witchcraft, or there's devil worshippers involved, and this woman's caught up in this web of Satanists. And it takes place all over the world. I don't know much more about that, but this is an absolute classic, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. So yeah, that's my first choice. That's The Devil Rides Out. Okay, the second book I'm doing a buddy read with MJ, and that is Falling Angel by William Hartsburg. Yes, that's right. Now, have any of you watched the movie Angel Heart? Absolutely awesome, terrifying movie. I'll put that up here as well. This is the book that the movie is based on. And now basically it's about a private investigator called Harry Angel, and he gets involved in a missing persons case, which is supposed to be very straightforward. And he meets this character called Louis Cypher. And this book is fantastic apparently. I know the movie, there was voodoo, there was witchcraft, there was Satanism once again. And yeah, it's a fantastic movie, and I've heard the book is better, so I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that. That is Falling Angel. Okay, next up we have prompt 3, which is read a book from a diverse author or character. Of course, this is for week 3. Each one of these prompts is for each week of the month. And I've chosen a book called Bloodshot, Stories from the Bloodverse by Tanya Huff. Now this is a collection of short stories. It involves a private investigator, a female private investigator who I think happens to be a vampire or has vampire blood in her, and she gets involved in all sorts of adventures with creatures and monsters and apparently wizards, and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this. I can't promise that I'm going to read every single short story, but yeah, I'm definitely going to dip into this for this month as well. Okay, and finally for week number 4, prompt number 4, Anything Goes. And now I've been dying to read this story again. This is a reread for me. I haven't read this for a long time, and it's one of my favorite authors possibly, and that's John Connolly, Every Dead Thing. Now, this book is part crime mystery, part horror, and it's first in a long series. It's about a detective, Charlie Parker, who is basically pretty much haunted by the death of his family, by the murder of his family in the most horrible way. And he goes after this serial killer who's also who's this missing girl. And he comes across all sorts of things like voodoo. There's all sorts of supernatural happenings and hauntings. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this. I did mention this book earlier. I think it might have been on one of my TBRs previously, and I just haven't got around to it. But yeah, that is Every Dead Thing by John Connolly. And you have to love this cover. Okay, now we're going to get just to my own personal choices, and I'll try to make it as varied as possible. The first one I was going to read last month, but I didn't on purpose because I'm doing a buddy read this month with Bad from Bad is Rad 2. Check out her channel, I'll link that below as well. And that is called The Black Farm. Now, I've heard that this is a very, very extreme novel. And so yeah, I'm not sure how well I'm going to get on with it, but we'll wait and see. Apparently it's got all sorts of trigger warnings and it's deeply disturbing. It starts off with a husband and wife, and they lose their child and they can't deal with the grief, so they decide to kill themselves together. And what happens is that the husband wakes up alone in this kind of living hell. I don't know, some kind of hellish landscape, I'm not sure. And he goes off in search of his wife. I don't know what to expect from this, except for the fact that I've heard that it is deeply dark, deeply disturbing. So we'll have to see if I manage to finish it or not. That is The Black Farm. Okay, next up we have a proper haunted house story, and that is Haunted by James Herbert. Now, this is apparently a little bit different. I do want to read the back of the cover for this. I'm probably going to struggle a little bit in this light. By the way, I hope that the lighting is okay. I tried something different tonight, obviously for Halloween. Let's see if I can actually make out anything at the back of the book. 3 nights of terror at the house called Edbrook. 3 nights in which David Ash, there to investigate a haunting, will be victim of horrifying and maleficent games. 3 nights in which he will face the blood-chilling enigma of his own past. 3 hideous nights before Edbrook's dreadful secret will be revealed and the true nightmare will begin. So that sounds pretty interesting. Looking forward to reading that. Okay, another one on my Kindle, and the next one has been on my TBR for a very long time, so I'm definitely going to prioritize it. That is The Pilo Family Circus by Will Elliott. This is apparently about psychotic clowns and a very strange circus stuck somewhere between heaven and hell, a sort of an alternative universe or alternative reality, and very bizarre and very strange, but also very horrific. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This is the first book out of 2 or 3 that I'm going to mention still, that is to do with circuses, carnivals, clowns. As you know what I feel about those things. I just love anything to do with creepy carnivals. So that is The Pilo Family Circus. Okay, we have another clown one in number 8th position, and that is Clown Infestation by Sven, I think Corinth. Sorry if I got that wrong. But this is a very interesting premise and I just had to get it on my Kindle. It's basically clowns are pests. They're just like your rodents or like a cockroach or something like that. They come from deep in the woods, so if they wander into town, some of them end up as roadkill, and you just take them back to the woods, so just a pest. And till this one woman basically finds an infestation of clowns in her house and she starts to get very worried. This is apparently a lot of fun. It apparently gets quite gross, quite hilarious, but quite horrific. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one, just for the premise alone. Really makes me want to read that one. Clown Infestation. Okay, next up we've got Christopher Triani, The Prettiest Girl in the Grave. I saw this mentioned on BookTube. Now, I absolutely love Christopher Triani. One of my 5-star reads this year was Gone to See the Riverman. And so I cannot wait to get into this as well. A high priority read for me this month. And I just want to read you something that obviously comes from the book. Some girls are fearful, others are brave. One girl's a princess, the next one a slave. But all girls are equal when they're down in this cave. Until just one is left standing, the prettiest girl in the grave. And so probably it's about some kind of teenage thing where they go into a graveyard and things go very wrong. But yeah, this is very highly rated on Goodreads and I cannot wait to get stuck into it. It's The Prettiest Girl in the Grave. Okay, the 10th book I'm planning to read this month is Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levine, absolute horror classic. Also, we're going back into the whole Satanist territory now, where a wife gets pregnant. She lives in this apartment with a bunch of Satanists, and yeah, things go very wrong and very dark. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to rereading this. I did read it quite a while back, and I think I only gave it 3 stars then. So I'm hoping that maybe I was wrong in the head last time that I read it. That is Rosemary's Baby. Oh, and by the way, there is a movie that came out as well, which was pretty enjoyable. And let's go all the way back to the beginning of my list where I talked about The Devil Rides Out. Interesting thing is that these 2 movies came out in the same year. Both really putting the whole devil worshipping horror thing on the map. And I find that quite interesting. Okay, number 11 is Bag of Bones by Stephen King. This was on my TBR last month, but I didn't get around to it. For some reason I've been avoiding this book. But yeah, it's a haunting of some sorts as well. Apparently it's about grief as well as haunting. And it's about a man who loses his wife and he goes back to this lake house. And at this town there's a millionaire that's basically put the residents under his thumb. So yeah, I'm not too sure about what's going on with this book. I know my wife loved it, so I'm definitely going to read it this month. I'll put it up there in my first or second week, because I'm behind on my Stephen King once a month, and I really want to read everything that this man has written. So that is Bag of Bones by Stephen King. Okay, in 12th position is a book that looks like a really wild ride. It's called The Haunted Forest Tour by James A. Moore. I'm not sure. But yeah, it looks a lot of fun. It's about a tour bus, it's obviously reinforced, that takes people through this haunted forest full of all sorts of creatures and monsters and everything else. And of course you are fully protected, totally safe. And then during Halloween you get like this special tour where you can go deeper into the woods, go a little bit further in. And once again, don't worry, you're perfectly safe. Or are you? But yeah, this looks like a wild ride. Apparently it is quite shocking and disgusting in places as well. So actually quite a few of these books that I've got on my Kindle might be more extreme than I know. But that's okay. I'll give them all a good go. Okay, and finally another book that I was supposed to read before, which is Carney, which is another clown novel, sort of a creepy clown novel, but this is more like a really disgusting, gory clown novel, where you've got stabby, rapey clowns, and you've got all sorts of blood and guts. Very, very short, but very gory. So yeah, I'm definitely going to pick that up this month. It shouldn't be a long read. I should be able to do that in one sitting. That is Carney. Okay everyone, so that's my spooky TBR for this month. I hope the footage is not too dark, otherwise we're just going to have to play with that next time. But I hope you'll enjoy that. If you enjoy my content, please be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep those pages turning, and cheers.